that opposed this lower notionism was the exact same signature as that which opposed this higher realization, and it came from only one place. And the more that we found it to be itself, it became smaller and smaller and weaker and less true, and more just some sort of white noise that you could flick away like a flea and be so much better without. Nothing hostile, nothing ruinous, nothing erratic, drastic, surprising, frightening. Nothing of that nature. Just a simple choreograph reflective of the supersymmetry which exists and is inherent in the universe in which all things follow, natural emotion itself included. We exist on a planet. The planet goes around the sun while itself spins. There's many planets. Only humans are here. As a flow, as a beat, as a way, as a drive. So the non-religious non-society was the exact same thing, which was opposing the constitutional civilization, which created that, or becomes that, or knows of that, knows that. And there was only one sort of thing, one sort of corporate ideal that something should be a certain thing, that we should be becoming something that we haven't. And the very same thing that is the Antichrist is the Schadenfreude anti-God son, so to speak. The trash bin, or the castaway of the nothing that is existence. So as we moved through these various disciplines, what we found out is that in no way, shape, or form is civilization opposed to religion. In fact, religion was itself the creator of what is civilization. There is an inherent socialism. There is a characteristic in psychology which agrees with all other things. It's connected to all other things. It rhythms with all other things. It understands all other things innately, without thinking, beyond the instance, into the instant, the unconditional. So as we found ourselves on the understanding edge of this, there was a innate lift where one would think that if only one could establish some sort of theocratic sort of kingdom, that we might be able to climb some sort of non-existent unit, and then ascend Tower of Babel style into some kind of ferment or foment or something that would alleviate all concerns. And what we found out is that that very answer sat directly in front of us. And without much concern, without much effort, without much thinking, one could cast away this very disease, and then without reflection, kind of repudiate it from the senses, to not count it as an option, to not recognize it as something literal or factual, actual. Is that what it became was exactly what it was from, which was some sort of illusion, some sort of image, some kind of maya. And what we found is conflict is illusion. And that's these various religious discussions about civilization, and these various civil discussions about religion came to be and came to pass. We only found more definite circumstances of that which was religion and that which was civilization. And the more that we understood all these things, we found that they were not in conflict. There was no juxtaposition, there was no irregularity, there was no freak, there was no even an ambition. Which doesn't mean that building itself is some sort of stasis, but it's rather something natural in the process of reflection to have some sort of output, that if something is a thinking device, that one would have some sort of product rather than some sort of non-awareness about what is in relation to what isn't, for some sort of should, which isn't, for some kind of haven't, which doesn't occur. And poof goes the zebra. So while you were sleeping, we have an entire characteristic not only of exactly what a constitutional civilization looks like, but also as well what a religious actuality is. It's from the religious actuality that we find the non-religious inactuality, and it's from the constitutional civilization that we find out what is crime. And these things are universal in both circumstances. And as we understand that more and more and more, we find that this division is not something that exists. There is no separation, there's no higher and lower, there's no slave and free, there is no sub and dom, there is no male and female sort of competition or violence. It's from this sort of fury, which is just simply the advent of having to exist in existence, be existing, that we understand different characteristics of worth and value, how these things go beyond some sort of time, and at our very best, we find a kind of relativity non-caustic, the developmental evolution associate, the transcendence of pain for its man's greatest goal, the eradication of pain, is found most primarily in the establishment of distinction, and that there are two words because there are two definitions. And that the words themselves, as well as the definitions, need not be shared between themselves in order to be something that is. that one thing is one thing, sign is a sign, the letter A is the letter A, clean is clean, water is water. There is no fear, there is no doubt. So far as the illusion of safety, it's just a compounding illusion, illusory, up and upon itself, into some sort of stimulus associated, a bar graph, and a competition of the inward stasis associated, some sort of duality, kind of becoming the self that isn't, falsity, can't be replicated, but of course. And it's only in this sense that uniqueness doesn't represent any sort of quality. Everything becomes this draft. And we bury ourselves down to the least of our denominators for the sake of nothing. And upon finding ourselves crushed, realize how far we have fallen for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And the repetition of that, such as roll the tape, is the definition of insanity, and nothing else. Goodbye, crime.